teenagers start off with marijuana. Then they decide to see if heroin has any kick. It does.
99.9% of people should explore their whole phase. My aunt told me, trust me, you're not going to marry that guy. And my baby daddy, you should go be a hoe. She was like, you have to go to black school because you're around too many white people and you have to go hoe it up. And that's what I did. And I'm happy I got permission. I mean, I would have probably done it either way, but
there's healing in the hoeing. We talk about that in the book. We even had a merch that said, heal first, hoe later.
I didn't have an adult hoe phase. I had a child so young and then I got married. College was my hoe phase.
From a man to a gun.
I saw like this trend on YouTube Shorts. These girls would, let's say a guy breaks up with them in some weird way, or they abandon their toxic friendships. They go on this revenge arc. They start dressing really promiscuously, start seeing guys as lesser significance, and they announce that like it's cool to be a player as a girl. I know the double standard can be questioned, that women should not fuck around. I think it's absolutely disgusting. I'm just putting that out there. I understand that the fight for females to remain feminine in such a cruel world is a very, very difficult battle. You know, this world is absolutely crazy. Like, you need some level of masculinity to deal with the insanity of how tough it is to live in this world. But that's why femininity is adored. That's why it is so valuable, because it's so hard to keep remaining feminine despite being absolutely torn apart by negative emotions and terrible things that happen in this world. Yeah, that's what makes a woman strong. I think that a woman does not become strong by adopting masculine traits, but by keeping the feminine energy they wish to keep despite how crazy the world can get. And I see these women go on this revenge arc. Oh, look at me, you broke my heart, so now I'm going to fuck around. I'm going to start, answering to the random people who DM me on Instagram. And let's be honest here, every girl gets DMs on Instagram, even if they're like 4.2 out of 25. Even if they look like Jabba the Hutt, they're gonna get some sort of attention because they have a coochie. And these girls would start dressing very revealingly, saying that's female empowerment. They give less of a fuck about how they present themselves, which I would love to say all power to you, but most of the time, because of build up emotions, they don't really want to do that and they end up regretting it afterwards. And it's in no way empowering you. You're diminishing your value in order to get revenge on people who have harmed you in the past. How is that getting any revenge? They are not harmed by it. They're watching you tear yourself apart, giving into the negative emotions they bestowed upon you, right? You're admitting defeat if you go on this revenge arc. True strength is keeping to your roots, no matter what happens to you. That is strength, because then you don't give that person who has done you bad or done you dirty any power over you. Because you continue, being who you want to be, being who you originally were, holding on to your core values that you want to hold on to. Of course, there will be parts of you that you have to change. But what I'm talking about is you abandon the core qualities that make you who you are, the qualities you want to have. You feel like you have to bend them in order to face the adversities of the world. You feel like you have to change to face those. No, those things that you feel like you have to change, that you don't want to change, like for example, you have to be more cold and nihilistic. You have to be more rude to protect yourself. You have to be more demanding in order to be more threatening, and therefore you won't be messed with as much. That is giving other people power, because if you're changing yourself in order to save yourself from the adversity that other people can cause you, then you're giving in. You're giving them power. I think strength is holding on to your moral values and holding on to being warm to people, being kind no matter what, being generous no matter what. I think that is what makes someone strong, Now, whatever the hell a revenge arc is, you're diminishing your quality, you're diminishing your value, you're destroying all your potential opportunities to get with a mentally healthy guy who's kind and charismatic and raised healthily. He done a lot of work on himself. What would that guy choose? He would choose a cheerful girl who's warm, who's playful, who's fun to be around, and doesn't dress like a slut for everyone else to see, because doesn't that make their, feminine beauty less valuable because more people can appreciate it? I personally think that, a girl wearing revealing clothing kind of makes her body less, how do I say this without objectifying women? I want to compare women to a product, but I feel like I'm gonna get destroyed in the comments. Okay, who cares? When you put a product on display and before you buy it, let's say the wrapper is opened, the box is open, and then the product is right there, the figurine. Let's say you're shopping for a figurine, alright, it's on a shelf. Then they're all in boxes. And one of the figurines, the box is open, it's just left there. What do you think about that figurine? You're not gonna buy that one because it has probably been touched and played with. It's probably been, tossed around by children. It has been damaged in some way. You don't want that. I know women are not objects, of course. I think women are beautiful creatures and they are very precious, alright? I'm a good man, okay? But I don't think that, why should I buy that product, essentially? Why should I buy that open product? I'll leave it to someone else if I had to choose. Of course, if I develop a sentimental relationship with that open product, then maybe that's a different story. If I haven't, why the hell would I sacrifice myself to pick that one? I'll pick the figurines and boxes because it's more mine. When I buy it, I know it's new. I know that, I'm getting the maximum value for the cost. So why the hell would I choose the opened up figurine? So please, never go on revenge arcs. Just take some time to grieve, to think. What do you want to be? Do you want to continue being the way you were? What do you want to change? Don't let the negative emotions that person that hurt you bestowed upon you determine, how you have to treat the world afterwards. If you do not heal yourself, you will bleed onto the others who haven't hurt you. So always be careful. Don't go on no revenge arcs. It's absolutely disgusting. It makes your value decrease by 500,000%. And I'm sad, some of these girls are absolutely gorgeous. Why would you do that to yourself? You probably start off at a great place, like naive and cheerful. But you can be cheerful without being naive. You can be warm and charismatic and kind and generous without the naive part. You can be mentally healthy without being a dumbass. I think it takes a lot of discipline to not go through this revenge phase. And I have utmost respect for females who remain feminine even at an older age, because this world is crazy tough, man. And them remaining feminine, that's what makes them so goddamn attractive. And that's what makes me respect them so much, because holy shit, it is tough. And it's attractive as well. I don't agree with all the red pill content, all the Andrew Tate and the Sneako, all that, who say they want like a very young girl that they can kind of brainwash and show to life. I think that they should, rephrase that to say that they don't want a girl who has given in to becoming promiscuous and making their attention less valuable by being with a lot of men and talking to a lot of men and constantly needing that male validation. That's the unattractiveness for me. I don't like the Andrew Tate stuff of like, I need a girl who hasn't been through anything so that I can kind of groom her into being. What I'm saying is that the self-control it takes is extraordinary to not go through that phase of just breeding male validation by dressing more inappropriately, by not dating multiple people at once so that you can feed your ego and think that's the right thing to do because you feel slightly better for that moment. It makes your attention and love less valuable and less desirable. Girls aren't taught how to deal with these kind of things. Their culture is constantly telling them that they should go on this revenge phase, become that boss bitch. That's what their culture is teaching, that we cannot hate them for turning into that. And nobody dares to educate females because that will be taking away their power. That will be like being a misogynist. That will be an anti-feminist or something. Nobody can teach them that because it will just be shat on and they'll be cancelled for it. So their culture is absolutely fucked. Nobody's telling them that it's important to remain feminine and mentally healthy unless they have very good parents who raise their child well to deal with adversities and to be true to themselves. But that is so rare nowadays because life is stressful as hell and so many parents do not have the time and capacity to thoroughly care for their children like that. What we can do as guys is to always tell the truth. Be truthful about what we want. I'm certain 95% of us don't want a promiscuous wife. I don't know. I've met some people who do. I don't really know why. But I would like to say, theoretically, objectively, mentally healthy guys, kind, warm, charismatic men, why would they need to settle for a girl who has been through a revenge arc when they can just wait for a good, feminine, beautiful, mentally healthy partner to arrive into their life? We as men have to make sure we also remain mentally healthy. Don't adopt any bad dependencies or being rude to people to keep yourself safe. Many of us have mentally unhealthy parents and that's perfectly understandable. It's not their fault. I mean, it is kind of their fault because it takes a lot of strength, but they chose to succumb to the stresses of life, which is not easy at all, don't get me wrong. It's the most hardest thing anyone can ever do is to remain mentally healthy despite facing every fucking spear that the world tries to launch into your heart. But with mentally unhealthy parents, sometimes we feel like we are forced to adopt mentally unhealthy habits to deal with them. For example, mentally unhealthy parents would not actually listen to what you have to say and they would kind of soften the impact of what you're feeling. So for example, if you come back from school saying that, oh, my friend did this and I feel absolutely terrible. Mentally unhealthy parents, instead of listening properly and trying to investigate how you're feeling so that they can kind of guide you through it, they will be like, oh, that's only friends. I've been going through so much at work. Life is so stressed. When you grow up, you understand that all this means nothing and you shouldn't cry over that. That's pathetic. And then when they tell you that, you feel like kind of the the importance of your feelings are diminished, and because of that you stop opening up because you just feel like you're being petty. You just feel like you're being stupid. It's very, very important to note these kind of things. I know this explanation is very, very vague. There will be many habits we adopt to deal with mentally unhealthy people if we are surrounded by mentally unhealthy people. And in order to attract mentally unhealthy partners, in order to attract mentally healthy friends, we cannot let these habits become a part of us. We have to identify them and throw them off the building. If we don't do that, we won't find the genuine people we truly want. And I learned that the hard way. I've been feeling alone for so damn long. So let's focus on how we're feeling. Let's focus on bad habits we perhaps adopt. And hopefully one day we find a wonderful, wonderful partner that we can have wonderful children with and raise our freaking badass family and find wonderful people we can spend the rest of our life with. To a better world.